All right, so let's go ahead and talk about equations. So our steps for solving an equation, it's always to distribute, combine like terms, move the variable, add or subtract, multiply or divide. So looking at this equation here, negative 4x minus 10 equals negative 2. Well, currently I don't have any parentheses, so I don't need to distribute. There aren't like terms on the same side, meaning looking at the left, I can't combine negative 4x and negative 10, and there's nothing to combine on the right. So no combining like terms. I can't move the variable because to do that, I'd have to have a variable on the left and the right. So I'm all the way down here at add or subtract. So I want to do the opposite of what is there. Well, currently I'm subtracting 10. Or I could rewrite this as negative 4x minus 10 is negative 4x plus negative 10. Well, the opposite of negative 10 is to add 10 to both sides. Negative 10 and positive 10 are going to cancel. So I'm left with negative 4x equals 8, because negative 2 plus 10 is 8. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. X equals negative 2. Now here I have a little bit more steps because I can see that I have parentheses. Parentheses is the number one indication that you have to distribute. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to everything inside the parentheses. But to make sure I get my signs right, I'm going to rewrite this as plus a negative 5. Rewrite all of your subtraction as adding a negative because it's the same thing. So I distribute the 3. 3 times negative 6n is going to be negative 18n. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So I have negative 75 is equal to, or 75 is equal to negative 18n plus negative 15. So now I'm done with distributing, time to combine like terms. Well, there's nothing to combine on the left, and on the right, I can't add negative 18n and negative 15. So I have no like terms to combine. Now it's time to move the variable. Well, there's not a variable on both sides of the equation, so I can't do that. So now we're down at add and subtract. So I'm going to add 15 to both sides because that's the opposite of negative 15. Negative 15 and positive 15 will cancel. So I'm left with 90 is equal to negative 18n. The last step is to get n by itself. Well, currently negative 18 is being multiplied by n. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 18. And I get that n is equal to negative 5. Here I have 3x plus 5 is equal to 8x minus 10. Well, here there's no parentheses, so I have nothing to distribute. On the left, I cannot add 3x plus 5, and on the right, I cannot combine 8x minus 10, so I can't combine like terms. However, I can move the variable because I have a variable on both sides. Now, when we move the variable, we always want to move the smaller variable. So the smaller one between 3x and 8x is the 3x. It's a positive 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Positive 3x and negative 3x will cancel. 8x minus 3x is 5x, so I'm left with 5 is equal to 5x minus 10. Now I'm down to add or subtract. I want to get the variable by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite of subtracting 10, which is add 10. Negative 10 and positive 10 will cancel. 5 plus 10 is 15, so I'm left with 15 is equal to 5x. Last thing to do to get x by itself is divide both sides by 5, which I get 3. Here I have no parentheses, so I'm not going to be distributing. However, I do have things that I can combine. Looking at the left-hand side, you can combine 2x minus 5x. I have to do that first before I try moving the variable. So 2x minus 5x gets me 3x, negative 3x plus 6 is equal to 7x minus 4. Now there's nothing I can combine on this side. I can't combine 7x minus 4, so that just stays the same. Now we can move the variable. We want to move the smaller variable. So the smaller variable would be negative 3x. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. So I'm left with 6 is equal to 10x minus 4. Again, we're trying to get the x by itself, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So I get 10 is equal to 10x. And finally, to get x by itself, divide both sides by 10. I get x equals 1. This last one, we're going to put it all together. So the very first thing I see is I have some parentheses, so I'm going to need to distribute. I see I have a subtraction sign inside the distributing parentheses, so I'm going to rewrite all of this as adding a negative. So I'm going to do 2 times 5k, and then 2 times negative 6. Negative 6. So 2 times 5k is 10. 2 times negative 6 is 12. So I get negative 4k plus 10k minus 12 is equal to negative 3k minus 39. Now we can combine like terms. Well, looking on the left side, I have two things that have a k, so I'm going to combine them. Negative 4k plus 10k is 6k. So I get 6k minus 12 is equal to negative 3k minus 39. On the right, the negative 3 has a k, and the negative 39 does not, so I cannot combine them. I can, however, move the variable. We always like to move the smaller variable, so the smaller variable here is negative 3k, so I'm going to add 3k to both sides. 6k and 3k is 9k, so I get 9k minus 12 is equal to negative 39. And now we want to get k by itself, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides because that's the opposite of what I have. That gets canceled. I get 9k, negative 39 plus 12 is a negative 27. To get k by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 9. K is equal to negative 3. Make sure you go in this order, just like we did with the checklist, to distribute, combine like terms, move the variable, add or subtract, multiply or divide. So, writing equations, I've got another checklist for us. It's finding the slope keywords, find the y-intercept keywords, and then write it all together because all of our equations are going to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. So our word problem here, Michael is saving money to buy a new PlayStation controller. His grandmother already gave him $25 for his birthday, and he plans to save $5 each week until he has enough money for the controller. Write an equation to describe the amount of money Michael will save based on the number of weeks. Okay, words that mean slope. Per, each, and slash a all mean slope. So I see each here, so I know 5 is going to be my slope. The word already or started with or initial value, anything like that, that's your y-intercept. So now I have 25 as my y-intercept. So if I'm writing this in the form of y equals mx plus b, I've got my slope, so y equals 5x plus my y-intercept, which is 25. Remember, if something is draining or reducing or something, in that case, your slope would probably be negative. All right, one more thing I want to show you is what if I want to use the calculator? So here I have this model and I want to know what x is equal to. Well, here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's and 2 1s, so I could say 5x plus 2. And here I have 3 x's plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 3x plus 6. So I could go to my calculator. If you have two equations, this is an easy way to solve it. We're going to go to y equals. The first equation we said was 5. We have 5. The button for x is up here next to alpha, 5x. And then we had plus 2. Now I'm going to go to y2 and type the next one. We had 3x plus, how many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3x plus 6. And then you're going to hit second graph. And we're looking where these y values are equal here. So it looks like they're getting further apart. Oops, not trace. Graph. We want second graph. So it looks like the y values are getting a little bit closer together, further apart. Let's see. Are they getting any closer? Not quite, but let's look at our answer choices. We have x equals 1, x equals 3, x equals 2, x equals 4. So let's go back and see if we can find it in those answer choices. 4, their y1 is 22, y2 is 18. 3, 1's 17, 1's 15, but look at 2. Both of the y's are 12. Therefore, our answer is when x is equal to 2. You're looking for where they are the same. All right, move on.